Go for it.
Yeah, our thriller film's another split personality, but it's more of a psychological thriller, and the protagonist is just a bit older than us. He's like about 20, 22 years old, but with a love for detective genre and anything to do with it, so like he'll go to the local library and like look at anything to do with it, 'cause he's like got a really big obsession, and his obsession like grows and he follows like real life cases. And this causes his split personality to like create his own cases for him to solve, because there's not a lot going on and he's like really crazy. And the antagonist is the other side of the split personality, but the audience and himself don't actually know that he's got a split personality. So he like tries to like, throughout the film, he like tries to chase him and solve like crimes, but he ends up like chasing himself.
With the opening title sequence, we kind of plan to start with a close-up of the antagonist kind of lying on the floor, just his face pretty much, or maybe part of his body, quite bloodied, looking like he's kind of in a lot of pain, to kind of indicate that he's like, you know, might die. There's also the lighting in it would be kind of quite artificial, as if it's kind of fake or a kind of dream-like state, or just a lot more kind of depressing. We also were talking about having a coin spinning next to his head, and that's to do with the serial killer's kind of calling card of a coin, and we were using a coin because of the two sides, like a split personality. Yeah, once it kind of fades away, cuts to black, or fades to black from him kind of choking, to a much more kind of happy scenario of him in just his normal life. The colour palette is a lot more bright. The camera moves kind of quite slowly to kind of emphasise no worry. And it's just showing him kind of going through his daily routine of like going to the library, finding books, watching like Midsummer Murders or things like that. And like checking up on the kind of BBC reports of just any crimes in his local area, and he's kind of in the background we're talking about having a soundtrack of like a radio talking about a very recent case of a gruesome murder, which instantly catches his attention, which he then starts to pursue in the rest of the narrative, and it's ultimately himself making cases for himself to solve. And the kind of aim of the opening title sequence is to just really emphasise who he is and what he likes to do in his free time and things like that.
So in summary, the protagonist and the antagonist are the same person. However, due to the protagonist's split personality, it's unknown to him and the audience, bar some sort of subtle hints throughout the film. As the protagonist comes closer to the antagonist and solving the crime that he hears on the radio, the killings become more frequent and gruesome. It's established early on that the protagonist is severely injured at some point in the narrative, so this sets the tone of the film and leaves the audience curious as to when or how it happens. The coin's significant to the antagonist being his calling card, kind of like Two-Face from Batman, who leaves it at all his killings. Throughout the narrative there will be subtle indications of insanity, people in his life commenting on disappearances, dream sequences and unnatural or obscure shot types. And the opening title sequence is there to establish who the protagonist is. Cool. Any questions?